PNC News First is presented by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Pizza Hut, we're taking pizza to where it's never been before. Taco Bell, the only place where you live Moss. Colgate, the #1 brand recommended by dentists. And IT&D.
PNC News First, broadcasting live in high definition from Tumon, Guam, on KEQI and KTGM, and on KPPI on Saipan. Here is your PNC News team.
Hafa and good evening. You're watching PNC News First. We are live from the broadcast center at Akanta. I'm Jolene Tovis. Thanks for joining us. Topping our newscast tonight, Marine Corps Activity Guam has contested a report which states that complications in the construction of a new base for the U.S. military in Okinawa may delay the relocation of 5,000 Marines and their dependents to Guam. PNC's Amanda Dedicatoria has this report.
According to an article from the South China Morning Post, the construction of the new facility would allow for the long-planned transfer of thousands of service members and their families from the vast Futenma Air Station in central Okinawa to Camp Schwab, a base along the prefecture's coast. The report says that construction working on reclaiming a part of Ora Bay near Camp Schwab has been halted after engineers confirmed that the seabed was, quote, as soft as mayonnaise. In addition, the paper says that officials were warned that the seabed was not sturdy enough for construction in surveys conducted between 2014 and 2016. However, the project was still pushed forward. Engineers now estimate that the extra reinforcement would tack on an additional 4 years for the project's completion and would cost $23.6 billion instead of the initial projection of $3.26 billion. Amanda Dedicatoria, PNC News.
According to Don Baldwin, the deputy officer in charge of Marine Corps Activity Guam, the article from the South China Morning Post referencing the delays of the Futenma replacement facility impacting Guam is inaccurate. He also adds that delays to the Futenma facility are not linked to the Guam buildup. In other news, 13 students have so far been expelled because of their participation in the recent public school riots. Here's more.
According to Guam Department of Education Public Information Officer Isa Baza, the students involved in the JFK and Tizenhai riots were disciplined in accordance with GDOE rules and regulations. Superintendent John Fernandez has been encouraging school administrators to use their authority to deliver the appropriate disciplinary consequences. Fernandez said, I quote, "We need to be clear that acts of violence should not be tolerated in our school communities. When it comes to violence, I will support our administrators' decisions, especially when they recommend expulsion." End quote. Recommendations for expulsion must go through a disciplinary advisory committee comprised of teachers, students, administrators, and a central office representative. The DAC will make a recommendation regarding final disciplinary action and present it to the superintendent for approval. Meanwhile, parents and guardians may appeal an expulsion to the superintendent. This is Luella Lucina for PNC News.
In other news, jury selection enters day 2 in the case involving 3 out of 6 Gura executives accused of violating open government law. Let's take a look. 60 individuals were called into the Superior Court of Guam as potential jurors in the Gura Conspiracy case, where former Gura Chairman David Sablan, board member Cecile Suda, and Ronald Selvage will stand trial for misdemeanor crimes related to conspiracy, official misconduct, and violating open government law. The potential jurors are selected based on a series of voir dire questions formulated by the parties to ensure a fair trial. Once a jury is impaneled, Superior Court Judge Anita Sokola stated that she will then address a motion in limine in which arguments will be heard regarding the defense's claim of selective prosecution. Sablan, Selvage, and Rosie Blas enjoined John Elau's motion, which claimed that the government violated equal protection laws by pursuing charges against former Gura board members and not the Consolidated Commissions on Utilities Board, pointing out that the CCU violated open government law on 2 occasions, the most recent involving pay raises provided to GPA and GWA executives. A decision and order was previously issued by Sokola ruling in favor of the prosecution, stating, quote, while the AGO is generally either unwilling or unable to enforce government transparency laws, the court holds that the decision to bring charges against the Gura board was not based upon an arbitrary distinction, end quote. Elau and Deanne Torrey are accused in the same conspiracy, but were granted a severance from the other defendants. Their cases will trail this trial. Michael Duenas took a cooperative plea agreement with the government and will be called as a witness in the cases.
Opening statements are anticipated to begin on Monday. In other news, scattered showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday backed up traffic in parts of central and southern Guam as heavy rains brought reports of flooding. The National Weather Service issued a short-term forecast yesterday forewarning island residents to be cautious while traversing roads. Reports were received that Derry Road in Manila was impassable due to a stalled vehicle in flood waters. The flooding also caused the closure of the Infant of Prague Catholic Nursery and Kindergarten on Thai Road in Manila. In a release from the Archdiocese of Agana, administrators of the school reported excessive flooding, which prompted the school to shut down operations today. Community residents are also reporting flooding before the Pago Bay Bridge. A viewer-submitted video shows a line of vehicles attempting to pass through the area. The floodwaters appear to have risen approximately 2 feet. While some braved the waters, other motorists had to find alternative routes into and out of the Jotnya village. The offices of Guam Homeland Security and Civil Defense reminds the community to practice extreme caution while traveling in rainy conditions by driving below the speed limit and allowing enough braking distance between vehicles. Turning our eye to crime, a minor is in the custody of the Department of Youth Affairs after he assaulted his stepfather with a machete Wednesday afternoon. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapao says that police responded to the incident at around 5:30 in the evening on Worcester Road in Dededo. Police say that the 16-year-old male and his stepfather had engaged in a verbal altercation, and during the course of the argument, the teen struck his father's head with a machete. The teen was apprehended and taken into custody on charges of aggravated assault. The victim was transported to GRMC for treatment and care. His condition was not made known. Well, don't go away. On the other side of the break, we look at the proposed United Nations office in the FSM and a new brewery on the island and other stories.